What's going on, y'all? It's JD Piquel with On 3. Today on the Hard Count, we're going to talk about how Michigan will adapt in 2022. Welcome into the Hard Count, the people show for every single thing that you know and that you love about college football. It happens here on a nearly daily basis. Nick Brake does the heavy lifting. You can help drive the show by subscribing to the channel. Now, Michigan accomplished just about everything on their goal list last year outside of winning a national championship, but they beat Ohio State, they won the Big Ten, and they're looking to do it for a second time in a row. And so there's a lot of optimism in Ann Arbor. There is a lot of excitement around that program right now. Jim Harbaugh was going to the NFL. No, he's not. He's coming back. They're ready to run it back at Michigan. Now, just about everybody in Ann Arbor will tell you that they have to do it a different way than they did a season ago because they lost two really good edge rushers, Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo. They lost a really great downhill kind of back in Hassan Haskins, that they have to find a different way to replace that production on the ground. So it's going to look different this coming season for Michigan. But the ultimate question is, well, then how will it look? How will it look different? How do they adapt to get back to where they were a season ago and ultimately get past that mark? Well, we're here to talk about it. And I talked to Anthony Broom from the Wolverine. I talked to Clayton Safey from the Wolverine. They both had really great insight, dropped some knowledge on me, and so we're going to go in depth. First and foremost, on the offensive side of the football, they are going to have to open it up. They're still going to probably have two running backs sharing the load in Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, who some people think could be the best running back in the country this coming year. I won't touch that. But bottom line, you have two good backs. Now, are they Hassan Haskins kind of short yardage? Probably not, but they both need to touch the football. Donovan Edwards is a really great receiving back. Had 20 catches a year ago. Had one game against Maryland where he had like 10 catches for 170 yards. Like, dude can be a matchup issue for your linebacker if he tries to cover him one-on-one. So they got to make sure both those guys are getting the ball, and both of them are touching the ball in different ways. Donovan Edwards, like I just mentioned, should see the ball a fair amount in the pass game. Now, they also need to open it up because they have some depth at wide receiver. Ronnie Bell, Cornelius Johnson, both guys that need to see the rock. Also, the tight end room is really deep. Like, they're 2-3 deep in that tight end room, and they need to see the ball as well. So if you're trying to get the ball to your playmakers, a lot of that's going to happen through the air. You're with me? Last year, they were like 96th in the country in terms of passes attempted per a game. That needs to change. And so for a lot of people, they're saying, okay, we need to throw the ball more. Well, let's go to the guy that's going to throw the ball better. And this is all hypothetical, but a lot of people believe that McCarthy has the better arm. Now, you know my thoughts on this. I think Cade McNamara is the one that got you to where you were a season ago. I don't know how you turn your back on him, but ultimately, they're going to have to throw the ball more. That's the thought right now in Ann Arbor, that the offense will be more wide open. Now, they're not going to abandon the run game. And if you know anything about Jim Harbaugh, you don't expect them to abandon the run game. But we think there's going to be a little bit more of a commitment to putting the ball in the air because of all the playmakers they have. Looking to the defensive side of the ball, that was honestly, especially on the defensive line, a piece that really carried them a year ago. Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo, like we already mentioned, accounted for 25 sacks last year. Folks, that's getting after the quarterback at a really high rate. People always say the game of football is pretty simple. Protect your quarterback and make their quarterback uncomfortable. Michigan made the opposing quarterback really uncomfortable a lot of the time last year, in no small part to those two guys. They're both gone. So, how do you continue to make the quarterback uncomfortable? Well, you got to, in theory, manufacture some kind of blitz. And Junior Colson is a linebacker that they're really excited about. They think he could be the best player on that defense in 2022. But the thought is, okay, if we're not getting that same push from the defensive line, we got to bring it from the second or even third level. So expect Michigan to be more aggressive on defense. Expect them to do some more stunts with the defensive front and maybe bring a linebacker in on a blitz. Expect them to maybe bring that safety down and run support and maybe have him blitz a little bit more frequently. So if you're not getting that same push from those front four or front three, whatever it ends up being, it's got to be from somewhere else within this defense to get after the quarterback because they're replacing a lot on the defensive side of the football. So ultimately, what it comes down to for Michigan is finding a way to offset what they lost. I personally believe they lost more on defense than they did on offense, and I think the offense is going to have to score more points. I think the offense needs to do a better job of answering scores this coming year. I think they'll have to do a better job of playing with a lead this coming season. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of tempo that we see from both the offense and the defense that looks different. I'm not saying defense is going to be bad, but anytime you lose two studs on our defensive line, you need to have a way to offset that offensively. I think they'll do that. And again, I think they'll do that because of what they have at this receiver position, at the tight end position, and then also Donovan Edwards taking on a much larger role. Now, again, J.J. McCarthy is kind of the big hinge piece right now in this whole equation. If he ends up being the guy, do you feel better about spreading the rock? If Cade McNamara struggles to spread the rock early, how quickly do you turn J.J. McCarthy? I think they'll both play, but again, I'd be surprised if it's not Cade McNamara for game one. So to recap, defense, still got to find a way to bring pressure. It's not going to look the same as it did a year ago. Offense, with defense potentially taking a half step back, you got to bring more to the table and score more points to give them a chance to figure things out a little bit more and still win games. So that's it for us here on the Hard Count. We appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel. I cannot stress that enough. We are surging towards 10,000 before game one, before week one, September 3rd. We want you along for the ride. We're going to keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of the Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.